Good morning, good morning. We're here. We're making today happen. Woo! Tom, good morning. Is this better? The light that's a lot. This is better. I just realized something for myself.
What happened?
Man, that helps a ton. It's just non-direct light. So
okay.
Now I learned. Now it's all good. Hello!
Yeah, I don't know what,
What's that?
Sorry.
No.
I don't know what's going on with StreamYard on my phone, but for some reason, like, there's just this, it doesn't really matter though. Like, the video is very chopped into the side, and then there's this big white space in between, like where me and you are, and then there's the comments.
Gross.
So it's just a little confusing.
The only thing could be
maybe
that there is a setting. Hold on, let me see if this changes anything.
Yeah.
What does that do? I don't think. But what's going on? How's your morning starting? Oh no. Just choppy all around. Guys, we get to talk about the movie 300.
What did you say? Can you say that again?
Oh yeah.
I missed that.
I know. I was seeing if there's a setting that I could change for you. I think there is maybe a setting where you can change around just the layouts of certain things, but I don't think the layout is changed right now. It's the only thing.
No, it's not a layout. It just seems like a weird thing that my phone is doing right now. You know, like, it's fine, like, when I'm like this, you know, like on my screen, like on my phone, but then when I rotate this way, it used to not be like this. But now for some reason, I'm gonna take a screenshot so I can. I just shut my phone off. That was cool.
Where I did our walking podcast with Mr. Robbie yesterday rather, and I was on my phone and something looked weird, but I just kind of ran with it. So I'm just thinking that might be connected. So I'll check it out later for you. I'll see if I can get that going.
Yeah, no worries.
What's up, K-Safe? What's up, David? We did, yesterday we talked to on lap two, Robbie Mattson, the man who has walked the circumference of the earth and is on lap 2 right now. He recently did a podcast. He was a guest host on a podcast, and he just did another episode yesterday, which I thought was really interesting. So catch that. It is part of the VDads network. Can we call it that? So, well, at least our conversation yesterday. The other podcast he was doing was with somebody else, but Kate Safe, so good to see you. Tom, did you get involved in any of the new VFriend stuff yesterday?
No, I kept Whatnot deleted off my phone, so I didn't watch a single second. I worked and was productive all day. I went home early. We went to a high school basketball game where my daughter Bailey was cheering on the sidelines.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I stayed off of it. Did you get on it? How was it?
I did, and I spent the month of December really away from social media, and something that it caused me to spend more money in November than I wanted to, and I didn't really catch it until it was brought up. Lauren had mentioned something. I was like, no, that's not the case, and I got defensive, which I didn't stay curious enough, and then I went through it. And I was like, no, I did something wrong. It was a user error on my end. I got to change it. So I didn't delete it off my phone, Whatnot, but I did just not go on. And that was really helpful, actually. It wasn't so much saving money as much as it was just not spending. But it was good to double check that. And I think overall, it did make me feel like a little bit less connected with like the overall community. But, back in the swing of things yesterday when I jumped on just to check it out, which is good. But it also just changed my thought process as watching. It was a lot less FOMO. It was more of a, hey, I was fine without this previously. Why do I have to think that way? Because it's easy to get into these, FOMO moments. So that's something that we need to be careful of. That's all.
Yeah. So you didn't get anything.
No, I did.
You did.
But what I'm saying is, it was a lot more measured, and it was easy enough for me to make sure
Yeah.
it wasn't,
Sweet.
um,
No,
falling
no
into that.
gnomes.
Yeah, no gnomes yet. Although I do have a gnome stash, and by gnome stash I mean money set aside for when gnome stuff comes out. So
Nice.
let's see how it
Good
goes.
morning, Craig. Good morning, Scuba Ryan. What are your thoughts on raw milk?
I know I was putting that to the side for a second, but we could definitely swing back over to it. I do
we
have my
could we could
thoughts on raw milk.
we could tie I could tie it real quick into gratitude. I'm grateful for Scuba Steve's randomness. I've had a couple people in my life that are like him, and I do appreciate like the uh, just like how he can get you to just kind of like stop what you're doing and just get a little chuckle in there, just like insert humor, but like in a serious way, because he probably is curious about raw milk. um and like you said, you have thoughts on it.
I feel like it's what is injected into a conversation at the time. Because raw milk's great, but who knows if it's like the moment to talk about it. But we can talk about it. That's okay, because we're really just talking about stuff. But are there any movies in your life that you can think back and it changed something large or small for you, but it's definitely something that didn't just kind of fall into the, I watched that and forgot it category?
mm, I don't think so. I've watched a lot of movies, and so I've just always appreciated that part of life, like that part of art or that genre of film. So it's just always been a part of. I think maybe it's helped my what I feel is my ability to be funny or comedic at times. I mean, I'm not always like that, but I did get told the other day, which really kind of broke my heart, that my kids don't think I'm the funny one. They think mom's the funny one, and I just don't understand that. So I'm sure I'll hold that against them for all eternity.
Wait, I'm lost. Hold on. Connect
Sorry.
connect this for me. Wait, hold on. I asked about movies. Is this about movies? I mean,
You asked if like
I'm
one
going wherever
single
you want to go with this. I'm just confused.
you asked if one single like if a movie has hit me and like changed like the course of whatever, right? I think that's what you asked.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, like it's not like I saw the movie and I was like, oh, I want to, go do this, or I'm going to change my life in this way. It's just like I've I love movies, especially comedies. And so I think that from watching so many movies, like I've developed like a sense of humor, um,
Okay.
comedic timing, like those kind of things. Um, and so I've always thought of part of my identity as being funny, not like hilarious stand-up comedian or anything like that. And the other day I asked my kids, like, who's the funny one, mom or dad? And like I think the only one that I know that answered was Bailey, and she was like, oh, it's mom. Like it's not you at all. Like you're not funny.
Hmm.
And I'm like, ow. Like, like it was just like an arrow to the chest moment. But yeah.
Yeah. So the reason I'm bringing up movies is because trying to get this under control, David. Stop judging us. The reason I'm bringing up movies is because today was all about King Leonidas and the 300 Spartans. That
I love that movie.
Yeah, that's why I'm bringing it up. Right? We're here, and you know what? I'm gonna wrap this in. I wonder if they drank raw milk. I'm gonna assume they did. That's what they did. That's what made them.
Straight from the cow.
They just got under the others and they just made it happen. But today is about the movie 300, or more importantly, not the movie, but because that was an adaptation of their story, which, people say that it was highly exaggerated, the warrior depictions of all of those things here, because it showed, Spartans here as, near superhuman, at least with their physiques, and that's what changed me. There's two movies I can think back right now that got me be like, oh fuck, I got to get back into the gym a little bit more. Was one was 300, and the other one was the more recent, and don't judge me for highlighting a remake of it, but Roadhouse was the other one with I'm forgetting his name right now, Donnie Darko. I'm forgetting it right now. I forget his name, but anyway, those are the two movies that probably sat with me and was like, I really got to deal with it. Raw. Stupid. Stop taking my attention away. You know why? Because I feel like the questions are like ones that I want to answer right away before it gets too far down. Like,
That's what I'm saying. He knows how to do it.
yeah. So Scuba here is asking, Scuba in the chat, if anyone doesn't know, you can be in our live chat over on, well, we can really do this. You can get into the chat on X, even on Facebook, you can mention these things and we'll see it. We can definitely do it. But the live group is right now over on Twitch, so you can get in there if you definitely want to. But with the movie 300, King Leonidas, he was one of those 300 men that fought against Xerxes, right? They were in Sparta. Xerxes was trying to take over all of these different civilizations and cities and whatnot, and they fought. They ended up losing, but it was more about, how these men fought, how they become who they were, all these kind of things too. And so I thought it was really interesting to look into a few things before we get in there, because I was thinking like Sparta, ancient Sparta. What do you think about ancient Sparta? I had an infatuation when I was younger with Sparta and all this. Do you have any thoughts on it?
No, not really. I think about the only thing I know about it is probably from that movie.
Got it. Anyone else? Who else right now in the chat has watched? I just want to make sure that we're on the same page, right? 300, we saw it. Sparta, Greece. There was a time in school where we looked at things in ancient Greece, and I remember making spinach pie a lot because that's apparently what they ate. And so we made spinach pie. It was delicious. But one thing I did. Good morning. I'm talking about 300, Jason. The movie 300. King Leonidas.
Love it. Great movie.
Great movie. They drank raw milk. But some things that were going on in ancient Sparta compared to dadhood, dad life, all these things. There was in ancient Sparta, there was this state-controlled upbringing, apparently, which I didn't know that was so much how it was set up. But if you saw in the movie, at the age of 7, the Spartan boys were really taken from their families and to live in a certain way, which there's a name for it, but it was more or less where they kind of put them into this like very rigorous training. And, in the movie, it depicts a 7-year-old going out and ended up killing a lion, I think is what it was.
Wolf.
And they showed like 7 years old. Like I couldn't imagine my 7-year-old going out and doing that, but it was more to help the boys here in particular. It was boys. But it was showing how they needed to, on their own, focus on their physical strength and their discipline and their like loyalty to this whole state of Sparta, which I thought was really interesting. Would you let your kids, be put into that kind of situation now? I don't know. I think a lot of people say no. But 3 of the things I thought were interesting. Within this, bravery apparently was this really big thought that even the mothers wanted to push onto their kids, specifically their sons, right? Because the Spartan mothers played a critical role in making sure that their sons grew up to know that they were going to be a warrior of some kind. And so I thought that was a really cool thing to say, hey, you will make sure that you are setting yourself up to be a warrior. And I'm going to, rear you throughout your childhood to make sure that you are, emphasizing this idea of winning and victory and, dying honorably, which is interesting. Self-resilience was in there. And then the other thing was this whole thing on equality, right? So boys and girls were apparently raised somewhat equally in the home with the focus both on physical fitness and life skills is what this was saying. And so to have both of those kids doing that, or both of those genders doing that, I thought was just a really great way to think about how this was kind of brought up. But it's a different lifestyle altogether, right? The boys were kind of sent out, but the girls, I think, stayed home, and they still continued to train on strength and all this stuff. So just everyone together, they were just strong people. So do you think our kids are close to that these days? The answer is no.
Not, I mean, not at that level, but
summer camp.
Yeah. Like Scuba said, like walking home from the bus stop alone, walking from school alone, going like our teenager, like we send her out into the world to meet up with friends and hang out in public places. But yeah, the biggest thing is usually walking home from school alone, or staying at home alone, for a little bit while mom and dad run an errand. Last night I went and picked up Bailey because she stayed late at the basketball game. So I went and picked her up at like 8:15 and left the two little ones at home. They're 12 and 6, so they're not little. It's like that kind of stuff, but it's definitely not going out into the wild to forage and feed themselves and take out predators.
But, maybe not. But at the same time, they see you.
Maybe next week.
Maybe next week. But what? There are people that are going out and they're hunting, and their kids are seeing a lot of that stuff, right? But I think that more importantly, what everything about today, at least, is again, King Leonidas led these men, and their whole society was built on this. So it wasn't strange that these men were stepping up to do what they did. In fact, they wanted to go out there and die honorably for this. Okay, now we're exaggerating this thought here, but this idea of like the actions that we're taking, whether it's bravery, strength, whatever's going on, is there some action that we're taking that our kids are seeing, and it's inspiring them, and it's helping them see us in a way where we're setting an example of some kind of way. Are we doing that enough? I think sometimes we got to be pushed to do it.
As you're talking, I'm trying to think of all like the mini trials maybe we put our kids through.
Hold on. Before you go there, what are you doing though to set the example for the trials that they're about to go through? Because that's really what it's about, right? So it was like this King Leonidas thing, showing the kids how to take this idea of their society and like what it is going to lead to, how they step up. It's like, okay, well, King Leonidas is doing it, we're going to do it too. Is that the thought here that you're about to go into?
No, but thank you for keeping me on track. I would say, I think that's a good reference for the past few days of the reading, where you're showing kids habits that you hope that they pick up. And one of those is probably bravery. I'm sure, like how to be brave, even though you're scared. It might be like interacting with just how to interact with people in general. It might be how to stab wolves through the mouth.
Maybe.
Sometimes you got to do that. The thought, so now I'll build into my thought that I had, is those mini trials that now you want to see your kids go through, and hopefully they do the things that you taught them. You want them to do the things that you showed them.
Yeah.
Whether it's mouth stabbing of wolves, or it's dealing with a bully, or needing to talk to a teacher about something that they don't understand. That's actually something that like me and our girls are going through right now, is how do you voice your opinion, and how do you be brave or no, and letting them know that like being brave also means being scared. It's like you can't be brave unless you're scared.
Is there something that you're showing your kids? It's like, I'm scared, but I'm going to do this. And the first thing I was thinking about was like, I think we can quickly be like, we like to show our kids how to eat healthy and then go to the gym. And just in this moment today, because that's obviously a great thing, but just because this story is pushing the thought, does it mean anything if they don't really know how it's leading to it supporting a bigger challenge? Like, this is just my thought here. It's like, okay, daddy trains hard and he's disciplined, eats well, goes to sleep. He just does that. Like, your kids might see that, right? They might just see that you are doing those things. But what is it actually? What's the culmination of the habits you have? So it could be a marathon. Well, dad's doing this because he's running a marathon, or dad's doing this because he has a competition coming up, or dad's working so hard because he's working to the end of this project, which is like, go to this, instead of like telling our kids like, hey, we're just working right now. We're going to work. It's making me think of all of these healthy habits, all of these, strong thoughts, the stoicism, everything we kind of talk about in the morning here. Is it really doing anything? Is it really coming to a point that is teaching our kids, you do these things for a certain reason, right? I'm not saying yes or no. It's just my thought. And I'm starting to think now, they might just think we do these things for no reason whatsoever. They don't get it. And they're not going to get it until they see, what they have to do, or at least what we're doing.
Yeah, I like to think that they're seeing a change, they're feeling the change, like they're seeing a different person, like the interactions are better. Like I'm a calmer person when I've gone through my routine and had all the stuff hit and fire on the day. I'm a calmer person. I don't think they're gonna understand, like the bigger reason, but like also I'm in a phase where I'm trying to get myself in the habits and like stick with the habits, and then as even I see the habits uh change me and allow me to grow into whatever I'm going to become, that then I'll be able to explain to them like, look, I was here, I was doing all this stuff and I wasn't really like happy, or I wasn't really, like I didn't have the energy and stamina to keep up with, the newly added 5-year old. So I'm in this process, and now that I'm on the other side of it, I can tell, and they're entering into their adulthood or their late teens. I can tell them like, you know, this is what it was all for. Like, it's not necessarily something that you need right away because, you're still a kid. You want to figure out your own life, but like eventually there's going to come a time where you may be in some sort of weird spiral of negativity, or in a job you don't like, or a relationship you don't like, and you can think back and say, well, this is what my dad did. He created like a habit stacking plan, and that pulled him out of whatever he was in and helped him. Because I don't think they need like that, the help, the stuff that I'm doing. They don't need it right now. What they need is they just need a dad in a better place, and that's what I'm doing. They don't need to know anything other than that. Like, dad's doing stuff so that dad could be better, so that dad could, give me the unconditional love and support that I need.
100% agree. Yeah, I think that there is an age appropriate conversation within all of this, right? Unless you're in Sparta, 7 years old, you got to go kill a wolf. Either one of those, or walk back from the bus, or go hunting, or whatever you got to do. But it does make me think about how we might need to kind of have these challenges arise to show a purpose for what we're actually doing, which I think is definitely good there. I like that idea. Any other thoughts on that, Jay?
Yeah, kind of back to what Don was saying about kids not really needing to know. I think like when you were talking, I was thinking about your jumping jack challenge where you are on an awesome beach. Like those those little fitness challenges or those little self betterment things that we decide to do or decide to work out. It's like don't really feel the need to explain them, but I think those are the things when our kids get older as they go through their teens, they'll have those little flashes of us doing those things. Then they'll connect the dots at some point. Like for example, the other day we talked about how dad would go through like spurts of running for betterment, and I never really asked, but it was cool. But like one thing I remember him doing was I remember coming home and he stripped down to his underwear and he started doing sit-ups in his room. And at first it was weird, but because he was wearing tighty whities, but that stuck with me. Like that was like him going upstairs after school and doing sit-ups for half an hour or something. That's something that stuck with me about if you're tired or if you're just getting back to work, doesn't mean that you don't do your routine or make yourself better.
I hear you. Yeah, I like that. Let's touch on raw milk for a second. Guys, are you guys drinking raw milk right now?
No.
Why not?
Because I love me RBSTs. That's why.
Your RBSTs, are you talking hormones?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Can you define raw milk?
Raw milk is just unpasteurized milk. So if you have raw milk that's just coming from like straight from a cow, it is just in its natural form that way, versus a pasteurized milk, which is just heated up to a certain temperature to kill any pathogens that could be within there. And so it's like that's it. I think a lot of people I've heard, they think that pasteurization means that there's a lot of things added to the food, or at least the milk in this case. And it's not the case. It's just the fact that it's heating it up to make sure that there's no bacteria that could be potentially harmful in there. But some people will say that raw milk is going to be better to make sure that there are going to be things like enzymes and some beneficial bacteria in there, like a probiotic. And they're not wrong. It is in there. It's just in such small amounts that it might not even do anything for you. So looking towards raw milk as a benefit there is a little bit unnecessary. But that's kind of what they look at. And so some people say it tastes better, whatever else. But that's usually it, which I think is good. But I would never feed my kids raw milk. I would never have raw milk myself, just because the benefits don't outweigh the risk of there being some sort of bacteria in there. So I just don't think that it's as necessary. That's all. What other? Yeah. Are you guys hearing about this stuff? Do you guys hear about drinking raw milk? Any nutrition-based questions that come up that way?
No, not really thinking about it particularly, to be honest.
This is why I don't answer Scuba's questions, because it goes to the next question, which is just ridiculous. Gets me every time.
You know he was going there.
I didn't know he was going there.
Oh.
So. But no, it's definitely a thing. It's good there. Woo. Well, guys, let me ask this question. I know we're over time. We're top of the hour. Is there anything right now that you think that you guys have done that have made your kids proud? Have they seen you guys do anything recently? They were like, "Yeah, I am definitely proud of my parents, proud of my dad."
I did have to reprimand a kid yesterday at school for doing something, and I happened to have all three of my girls there. I wasn't yelling or anything, but when I looked back at them, they were kind of looking at me weird. It's like, did they like that? Did I do the right thing? I don't know. I feel like they enjoyed seeing me lay down the law.
On
In my
someone other than
head,
them.
that's the story I told myself.
A little bit of that respect conversation from yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Dom, is there anything your kids saw you do recently like that?
I don't know if I still don't know if they would say proud. I'm just not sure that that's an emotion or a feeling that registers hard with them. I can ask them, but I know they were excited, happy, glad, appreciative of me finally hanging their the swings, like the little hanging chairs in their rooms. Did that a couple weekends back. And then like, the I think it was even more so like they and even my wife does this, and I've installed them before in clients' homes. But like I sit in it after I hang it to like, stress test it. So I'm like, if a 190-pound man can sit in it, you guys can sit in it and swing in it. But like they all freak out whenever I sit in it. They're like, it's creaking, it's gonna fall, you're gonna get hurt. I'm like, no, it's good. This will hold a normal human.
I definitely remember being really proud that my dad was able to do things like woodworking. Like he just, we come from a lot of carpenters. And so knowing that my dad could do things, I remember being really proud of it. Sometimes I think the last time maybe my kids were proud of me was when I ended up making some sourdough. And they're like, okay, dad knows how to make bread. And I was like, that's a cool thing. They like that. And they told their friends about it. I thought that was really cool. But overall, if anything, today's a reminder that I think I want to put myself in a position with my kids, knowingly seeing that I have a challenge coming up and then seeing their dad overcome that. I know Lauren does this. I like she goes to CrossFit and then they have, the CrossFit Open. And so they'll see mom, working through this workout, this challenge. And I think that that's a really good thing. And I'm like, okay, I don't know if my kids are seeing me do that as much. Not that I think we have to push it, but I think it would be a good thing for them to see that we are challenging our body, kind of getting to the fringe or the edge of what our body and our mind is capable of doing. So I think it's time to kind of set something up like that. It's a good reminder. I like it. All right, guys, top of the hour here. Any last thoughts?
Go get yourself a wool fur. Keep yourself warm.
This guy's got a bow and arrow behind.
Let your kids watch you do that.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, guys, love you. Mugs full of coffee, hearts full of gratitude. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you, everybody.
Bye.
See you guys.